He fell asleep in New Jersey before the bombs hit the ground. Broadcasting from a bomb shelter, he is the nuclear clown. Alright, look. I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you, okay? I think that we've been pals long enough where I can be straight with you, okay? I can tell you the hard truth, and I think you'll be alright with that. We are living in an age of reboots, and we're not even close to being done here. Citizen Kane starring George Clooney, it's coming. Animal House starring Seth Rogen, yeah, look out for it. That'll be on the way too. Edward Scissorhands starring Tyler Perry, destined to happen, okay? What I'm trying to say here is, I've come to accept that there are no more original ideas. Well, there may be some out there, but the people who make movies and have far more money than I'll ever have no interest in starting something new. Instead, they hitch their financial wagon to another intellectual property, another movie, another TV show, another beloved cartoon from the 80s that will hurt my mind as it is raped on the screen again and again and again and again. It's just how it is. Which brings me to my review of Total Recall 2012. Now, I'll tell you something. When I heard they were redoing Total Recall, I was not pleased. And then when I heard they got Colin Farrell to star in Total Recall, I said, no. And I saw a trailer for it. And I gotta tell you, I was excited for it. I was. I love the original Total Recall. I absolutely love it. And I was really excited to go see this reboot. My spoiler-free review is as thus. Total Recall 2012. It's okay. It's okay with a sprinkling of stupid at times. It's okay with a dab of I'm not really sure why they did this, with an entree of it is what it is. If you're going to reboot something, if you're going to redo a movie, if you're going to redo a cartoon or whatever it is, then I honestly believe that you should change it up. It should not be just another retelling with things in the same place, same characters, same storyline, and all that stuff. I really do believe that you should mix it up. And this film does that. There's just enough of the original premise, really, where you're kind of comfortable with it. And they do change some things that I'll get to in a moment. There's also a lot of things that they left out that I thought were absolutely sorely lacking. Oh, screw it. I'm going to go right into my spoiler-free, or my spoiler non-free. What is this? This is the spoiler review? What part are we on now? You got to help me out. I don't know what I'm doing here. Spoiler-free review. Total Recall was, you know, it wasn't terrible. I didn't think so. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't really good. It was alright. It was alright. The spoiler-free review is it's the worst part of the video, isn't it? Because it's like nebulous bullshit. It's always like, well, it's okay, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, let's start spoiling stuff. I have a problem. Well, first let me say, I think I like Colin Farrell. I do. Have you seen the movie Phone Booth? I thought that was a really cool movie, and that was my first kind of exposure to Colin Farrell. And I did like that movie a whole lot, and I thought he was good in it. So I've always kind of been positive on Colin Farrell. Alexander, I never saw. I don't know, and stuff like that. I can't really think of other movies I've seen of his that he's been in. But when I think Colin Farrell, I think, well, all right, you know, we've had some good times in that phone booth that one time where nobody was watching. And we made calls collect to our hearts. But doth an action hero that make? I don't really think so. Here's a big problem I had with Colin Farrell in this movie. he seems genuinely sad and bummed out throughout the entire movie. He seems like bewildered, scared. Did I say bewildered? He's a little too emo in this for me. Now, in the original, Arnold was, he was kind of, you know, he wasn't so much sad and depressed as to where his life ended up. He just wanted some excitement, right? He wanted to go out there and mix things up and rip people's arms off and drill people with giant things and kill mutants. Like we all want to, really. But in this new Total Recall, Colin Farrell is just kind of like a sad sack, and he's just like, oh man, I just wanna, I'm just, are you happy with your life? See, there's another thing I don't like. The movie kind of beats it over your head how unhappy Colin Farrell is with his boring kind of life, where he builds robots in a giant factory after traveling through the center of the earth. Because we all know commutes to work are so boring. Through the center of the earth. Listen, man, you could be doing reviews. Okay? So, you know, and Colin Farrell's talking to his friend, and he's like, are you okay with where your life ended up? And, you know, he's just, it's so in your face, where he's pretty much looking to the camera and saying, do you understand that I'm not happy with my current existence and seek a way out? Maybe some escapism? And instead of just outright blurting it out and saying it, I really think they could have taken the time here to, I don't know, maybe storytell a little bit and just let the scenes kind of speak for themselves. Like when he doesn't get his job and you know, God, he's got to wake up next to Kate fucking Beckinsale. I mean, Jesus, life's a bitch, right? Oh, wait, what's that, Colin? You've got abs, and you wake up next to Kate Beckinsale. You've got a full head of hair, and you're bitching. All right, I'll just come out and say it. I should have been the star of Total Recall 2012 in this shit. Huh? Right? Anyway, I just thought that he came off as kind of whiny, where in the original, Arnold, you know, we all love Arnold, right? Made indiscretions aside. And he's just kind of like, you know what, I'm bored, I want to kill. I'm a giant man. I just want to kill and shoot people. And then Colin Farrell's just like emo sad face about it. And I didn't like that. And so anyway, he does a Total Recall thing, and it's kind of like Blade Runner and Total Recall had a baby for this movie as far as like the way the city looks, and there's a big like chemical war, so there's only two places that are still kind of up and running, and it's like the colony, which is Australia if my geography is correct. American. And there's the British, whatever, I don't remember. And then they take like the elevator through the middle of the world and stuff. See, and it's very different than how the original was. And you know what? I'm for that. I was kind of sad that Mars wasn't in it because I thought that it was a very cool part of Total Recall, the whole Mars thing. And but you know, all right, I understand it's a reboot. I understand they're taking it kind of sort of a different way. They're giving me the general same thing, with some little twists here and there, like the big robot guys, the robot cop type things who look sort of like they played Photon. Kind of, the robots kind of look like they played there were people playing Photon mixed in with like BMX biker armor type stuff. And I didn't mind the robots really. Okay, all right, you're gonna go a different way here, but here's what I do mind. Where are the mutants? It's important to me, personally, as the irradiated one, to have mutants in my films. And the first Total Recall had mutants galore. There were more mutants than you could shake a stick at. And believe me, I've tried. And in this one, wait, there's a girl with 3 tits. And if she's not a mutant, how'd she get 3 tits? So we've established that mutants are there. Ish. Kind of. But they're not focused on in the story at all. KUATO, right? The guy in the stomach. You know, open your mind to me. I have a KUATO. But he's like 1,000 pounds. It's called my belly. And he's nothing, nowhere to be seen. The cool ass mutant shit, which I thought was great, and it still would have fit because even though the premise is a little different, it's still like the world got fucked up with chemical warfare and stuff. Mutants, yeah, you can. It's okay. You can have robots and mutants in the same movie. I looked it up. Like, it's not against the rules. You can do it. So do it, please. But no mutants to be found at all. And it just seemed like, why? Sitting there watching this movie, I was a little bit confused as to why they were doing this. And I found an answer. Money! They just want money. And that's a shame. Because I think a reboot of Total Recall is an interesting thing. I don't know. I was excited to go see it. And it wasn't horrible, don't get me wrong, but it just seems like they didn't really do too much with it. Let me get a little bit specific. It's kind of like a mirrored story-ish in a way. So the main character is a top-secret spy guy whose memory has been wiped, and now he's just like a robot repairman. He's on the Geek Squad pretty much in the future, and he like wakes up when he goes to this Total Recall place or not. You know, the great thing about the original Total Recall is you really don't know the story. Like, was Arnold a spy, or was that whole was the whole movie just from the recall thing? And I thought that was great. And this, you know, kind of sort of does the same thing, but it's a little different in that Colin Farrell is like the right-hand sort of spy guy to the bad guy, Cohagen, which is played by Bryan Cranston of Breaking Bad. And let me just say, this bad guy in this movie is awful. He's really not in the movie that much. And when he's there, he's stereotypical cardboard cutout bad guy number 7. And that sucks. That really, 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 really sucks. A lot. Now, I'm going to try to actually kind of do this in order because there's a lot of things that I want to yell and scream about fighting for supremacy in my giant brains, but I will try to do this in some kind of neat fashion. We all know that's not going to work. I want to talk for a moment about Jessica Biel. Now, I'm going to talk about somebody's looks. If you don't know, because I have rules, I have very strict guidelines I follow when I do these horrible videos. Whenever I talk about somebody's looks, I feel it's only fair to talk about my looks, right? Karmic balance, and all that sort of thing. So I think that it's pretty safe to say that I'm gross, right? Yeah? A little bit? I know I've got that Telly Savalas kind of sex appeal, but all in all, I think we can all agree that I'm disgusting, right? Alright, that's fine. And the bald thing doesn't help, and the fat, you know, I can go on for days. So now that we've established that I'm hideous, I'd like to talk about somebody else's looks for a moment. I was never a big Jessica Biel fan at all. I think that her cheeks are huge. She looks like she just got the shit beat out of her. You know when like you see pictures of like a domestic dispute and the girl's all beat up and her cheekbones are like out to here? When I see Jessica Biel, that's what I think. If it's Team Jessica Biel or Team Kate Beckinsale, is there even a contest? I don't think so at all. I'm Kate Beckinsale 1,012%. Let me just get that out of the way. So I on top of that, because it's not all about how she looks, I just didn't think she was very interesting. I don't know. I mean, in the original, Arnold's like crafting his whole fantasy thing, and you know when he like, all right, what kind of girl do you like? And he's like, sleazy. It warms my heart. It's so charming. And in this, she just kind of shows up and is like, oh my god, dude, I love you. I don't know. But I will say, I thought Kate Beckinsale was really good. She seemed to be extremely, just like relentless throughout the whole movie, and I liked that. It was like she was really, really, really after Colin Farrell through the whole movie. But see, I'm already going all over the place because I can't follow simple directions a lot of the time. So how was your day going? I don't know. It's the same old shit for me, really. Thought I'd sit down, do a review, but yeah, the whole thing happened. So the guy, Bryan Cranston, right, wants his old buddy back, right? He wants Colin Farrell taken alive. No disintegrations. He's no good to me dead. Following? So Kate Beckinsale goes after him, finds out who he really is, and then tries to kill him, right? And the bad guy finds out and is like, bad Kate Beckinsale, you're not supposed to kill him. I want him alive, no disintegrations. And Kate Beckinsale's like, oh, and then her head blows up. I don't want to spoil you. But, okay, that's fine, whatever. But then then at the end, it's like, in 2 minutes, the bad guy's like, all right, fuck it, just kill him. Like, I don't care anymore. I'm getting tired of it. Completely hollow bad guy, completely hollow just villainry for the sake of villainry, and I don't know. I thought it was really disappointing because, you know, it's Breaking Bad, it's Bryan Cranston, right? I want him to do well, I want him to have good things, but then he does, you know, this stuff. And then at the end, you have Colin Farrell, and he's knife fighting Bryan Cranston, right? Colin Farrell versus Bryan Cranston. It's like the young... It's like the young punk in high school beating up the principal on a rooftop in the rain. It was so stupid that the last boss was a 50-something-year-old man with a knife. I mean, if you throw me on a rooftop against a 50-something-year-old man with a knife, I'm saying it's 50-50 that I'm going to walk out of there, right? And we're talking about a movie here. Can we, I don't know, can we have a little bit of, you know, drama, maybe? Huh? I don't know. Really, too much. And one part in Total Recall that bothered me. We all remember in the original when Arnold has the bug up his head, right? That's how they're tracking him, right? So he has to take this gun thing and shove it up his nose and rip out a giant thing from his brain. This is sign language for rip out a giant thing from your brains. Or it's the bushwhacker dance, whichever you prefer. And, you know, that was a great scene, right? He's there, and he's pulling it, and he's screaming, and he's making the Arnold awesome fucking sound. That is like the sound of man. You know what I mean? Like, if you want, if you had a race that all they could do was hear, and you were like, what is a, and they were like, what is a man? You just, and they would be like, I got it. You all remember that part, right? It was a great part in Total Recall. In this, they mixed it up a little bit, and they put a little homing thing on his hand. And they use these things as phones. So they go like this. Oh, hold on. I've got a call. Yellow. Oh, well, that's Tina. Again with Tina. Oh my god, fuck that bitch. Yeah, okay, I gotta split. Alright, peace out. And it was really silly, and it lit up through the, oh wow, bad. I mean, I was hoping that they would just go full stupid and have it like, have them implant the phone here so they actually had to go like this when they talked. Then, I mean, the circle is complete, and I would have just laughed through the entire movie. Yeah, the hand phone was kind of stupid. So anyway, Colin Farrell, it's the same scene-ish, but, you know, with a little twist to it. So Arnold had to pull the thing out of his head with sign language and all that, and Colin Farrell had to get the phone out of his hand with the sign language and all that. So he takes a piece of glass, and he cuts his hand, and he reaches in and he pulls out the phone thing, and there's some wires and shit like that, right? And that's the scene. Compare it with me, right? Arnold, oh god, and the big nose, and you see it beep, you know, you see it glowing through his head, he's fucking freaking out, and then, oh god, finally, right? Finally. Colin Farrell goes, ugh. It reminded me of Apollo 18, where they cut a giant moon rock out of somebody's guts, and he's just like, ugh, ugh, shit. And he like burps or something. I mean, can you ham it up? I mean, this was a part where they could really, I mean, just like have him agonizing over it and grimacing in pain as he's pulling this thing out. But it's just like, boop, boop. Step one, step two, we're out of here. Remember that from the other movie? It was just so much better done. You know, the hero's got to go through hell, right? And I don't know, I just thought that was kind of silly and goofy. And one of those moments where it wasn't nearly as agonizing, like watching this, you know, my stuff, like watching my videos and shit like that. It's bad. Bad stuff. Bad Kate Beckinsale. Bad. So, throughout this movie, there was a bunch of car chases, a lot of Colin Farrell looking confused, doing the weird eyebrow thing, running around, shooting at things, funky James Bond technology stuff, and really nothing terribly leapt out at you. There was no, the Johnny Cab guy wasn't there. KUATO wasn't there, and that is a huge problem. Now, alright, as a standalone film, just going in there, just sitting down and watching it, Total Recall's, it's whatever, it's fine. There's nothing terribly horrible about it. There's some stupid parts, but whatever. Overall, it's like, whatever, it's fine. But, if you're comparing it to the original was just a cooler movie. I mean, it was just cool. They had the mutants, KUATO in the stomach, and the guy they got to be the whole resistance leader in this is completely forgettable. You know, the whole big thing with KUATO was he was the leader of the resistance, and KUATO was actually this mutant little guy with tiny little hands, and he would hold Arnold's giant, massive sausage fingers and be like, "Open your mind to me, Quaid, kiss me." And they'd start like tonguing each other. It was the hottest scene ever. It was a director's cut. Don't worry about it. You have to go to Japan to see it, to see that scene. But in this, it's like this movie is a less cool version of the original. It really is. They have the robots, and the robots are like, all right, whatever. But if you're gonna ask me if I want robots or mutants, I mean, duh, mutants, hello. How many times do I have to say this, right? So, anyway, mutants aside, there was just a lot of stuff that was blander and more boring in this. And yeah, that's kind of it. Kind of just not very climactic at all, not very exciting. I think that the sets and stuff looked kind of neat, and I thought the whole idea of, you know, the fall, I think was what it was called, the whole kind of drop through the earth to kind of travel back and forth. Okay, you know, whatever, that's fine. But where's the beef, huh? I don't know. No Johnny Cab guy? Really? I mean, we just get the 3-boobed girl. I mean, alright, don't get me wrong, that's pretty awesome. But still, guys, we could do better than this. I mean, we really can do better than this. And one thing that honestly drove me out of my mind with this film, in the end, Colin Farrell wakes up and he's in an ambulance. Okay? And Jessica Biel is like, "It's you, you're alive. I love you so bad, babes." And they start kissing and slobbing all over each other. And Colin Farrell notices that she doesn't have this scar on her hand that Jessica Biel had, because Jessica Biel put her hand on her cheek, and her cheek just went right through her hand, broke every single bone in her hand, and cut a hole in the space-time continuum. Them some pronounced cheekbones. I'm just saying. Share the wealth, okay? Some of us don't have cheekbones. They're covered in juicy fat. So anyway, he notices that she doesn't have the scar on her hand from doing the cheek thing. So, you know, it turns out to be Kate Beckinsale wearing the whole, you know, face hologram disguise thing that he wore in an earlier part in the movie. So they fight, and he kills her, right? Now, alright. If you're Kate Beckinsale and you want to kill Colin Farrell, why do you wait till he wakes up? You're in an ambulance with Colin Farrell, right? And he's out. Kill him! But no. She puts on the little collar and says, I'm going to pretend to be his girlfriend. And then he wakes up and she acts like, oh, baby, oh, you're alive, you're alive. You're not my girlfriend. Oh, wah, wah. And then he kills her. I don't get that part at all. Just kill him. He's helpless. Anybody? Anybody? No? Alright. No mutants. Not one. And believe me, I was looking. So, actually, you know what? I thought of an absolutely wonderful way that they could have made Total Recall. See, I am going to make Total Recall 2012 awesome in my head. I am going to convince myself that after the credits roll, there's an extra scene in this movie, right? I have no idea if there is. I left and started throwing up as soon as it was over. Because of the lack of mutants, obviously. But in my brains, I will say there was a hidden scene in Total Recall where at the end, there's a dog in the whole Total Recall chair with the things on its head and stuff like that. And they disconnect it. And then, you know, the dog's owner is Bryan Cranston. And then Bryan Cranston's like, well, boy, did you like it? Did you like your vacation as a human? And then the dog's like, woof, woof. And its tail wags and it's happy, and that's it. So I will choose to believe that Total Recall was about a dog who wanted to know what it was like to be a human. And I think we'll all be happier with that assumption. The guy, he gets to have sex with Kate Beckinsale. And he's bored. I mean, I can't get over that. I don't understand. It's Kate Beckinsale, man. It's Kate. Do you know how hot Kate Beckinsale is? Are you serious?